Okay, so I'm not really sure how to start this video. I mean, I went to Epic Universe, I guess is a good way to start it. Um, yeah, and really all I want to do with this video is talk about my experience and, let you guys know if it's good or not, if the park's good. Um, and yeah, so it's going to be a bit of an unscripted video. I figure that's best for the first impressions. And again, just to clarify, I was invited by a team member, a friend of mine, and this is a preview, so there was no photos and videos allowed. You're not going to see any photos from me inside the park. Any photos that you see are going to be from Universal that I'm using in here, and concept art, etc. And in terms of spoilers, I'm not going to be delving into spoilers for any of the rides. I'm really just going to be saying, did I like it? Was it what I was expecting? So, stuff like that. So just really first impressions. And of course, with this being previews and all, a lot of stuff wasn't working. There's a lot of stuff that I'm sure will be different when the park officially opens. And again, that's all to be expected from previews. The park is not open. The park it's previewing. So any stuff like that, I wouldn't take too seriously. And I won't be complaining about anything like that in this video. I really just want to let you know what I did, let you know what I liked, what I didn't like. Mostly what I liked, though. Spoiler alert, I guess. But yeah, so I guess with all that said, let's get into it. Yeah. I guess first off, just kind of the whole going there experience. I kind of was like, oh, this is really happening. Like I'm really going to this park right now. And it didn't really hit me until we walked up to the gate, and I saw the Kronos in person. I will say shorter in person than I was expecting. I think just because, we've seen the aerial photos and it's hard to judge the scale. And not that it's like, short in a bad way, but I was like, oh, it's kind of stubby. Anyway, but that was my first impression going in. I was like, oh, that's not quite what I thought it would look like, but it still looks really cool. None of the orbs were turning or anything, but even just seeing the aesthetic of it, the inside of the portal and everything, just so cool. And even just like going through security and everything, I'm like, oh, this is real. Like this is actually happening right now. And then go through the portal and there's the view. You see the statue up front. I think it's the Luna statue. And you see Constellation Carousel, which is gorgeous, just gorgeous in person. You see the Helios in the back, like kind of the backdrop of everything. And unfortunately, I did not get my photo up in the front because I thought I'd be able to catch it later, but unfortunately not. But I wish I could have, because the view is incredible. It's like literally unreal, and you're seeing all the fountains jumping and everything. And my Celestial Park first impressions I'll get into later in this video. I mostly just want to start and go, use this video as like, here's what my day was, like here's step by step what I did, for the most part, because if I did step by step, it would be a lot of returning to Dark Universe and riding Unchained. Which was the first thing we did. The first thing, as soon as we entered the park, literally just speed walked over to Dark Universe and went in the queue for Unchained. And the queue is pretty cool. The queue is, I would say, one of the better queues that Universal has done. I think it would be, I'm referring to the queue video I did. I think it would be in my top 10 queues. I don't know if it would be in my top 5, but maybe 6 or 7, since another queue that I walked through is gonna go on that list. I'll get to that later. But I found that the pre-show in particular, I thought was super cool. There's kind of there's kind of no, I don't want to I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but there's a lot of things that go on during the pre-show that I was like, oh, this is really neat. And then you go to the lockers, and you enter the ride, and after my first ride on Monsters Unchained, I was like, huh, like I don't know, it was somehow not what I was expecting, despite it being all the like all the pieces, all the stuff that I knew was going to be a part of the ride, but it was somehow like the way it was put together. I was like, oh, this is like really weird. Like, this is not what I was expecting at all, and that's not in a bad way. In fact, I would say so. I gotta say this. I got to do it 5 times. We kept coming back to it throughout the day. We did it like twice at the beginning, a third time in the middle, and then it was the end of the day, and we were just like, yeah, we just got to do Unchained. So I did do it 5 times, and each time I rode it again and again, kept getting better. I kept being like, oh my gosh, okay, I get it. Like the first time, I think I was just like, I think it was also just that, like, I was there and it was something new that I had literally never seen before. Like, most of the time, if I'm going to a new park or something, I'll have seen a POV, or like even just people talking about it or anything. And I did, we heard some talk, like people say, oh, Unchained is good, and I kind of figured it would be good. But it was just something completely new, and it's so different than what I expected, despite it being kind of what I expected. And yeah, like I said, every time I rode it, it kept getting better. So let's talk about the ride a bit. Again, like I said, not getting into spoilers, not gonna say any specifics at all. I'm just gonna say the set pieces are huge. Like the whole ride is way more open than I was expecting. Like you see a lot, and like there are times where you literally like see the other ride vehicles, like on purpose, and it's really cool. There are so many animatronics, and I like all of them are really well detailed, and you get really close to some of them. Yeah, the motion of the ride, this is another thing to talk about. It is different than the Forbidden Journey, like the other Kuka arm ride system, because the way it's attached is a little different. I didn't find I thought it would be a little more noticeably different. It is similar in a lot of ways, but the main thing is that it does put you on your back a lot more than Forbidden Journey, but for some reason, like, Forbidden Journey, when you're on your back, it feels a little off-putting to me, and I was worried it was going to be the same for this ride. But it's not really. It's surprisingly comfortable, and I don't know if it's because the ride vehicles are different, a little more open, or anything like that. But I also noticed, like, the motion of the ride is very reactive. It's like you'll see something, and then the ride vehicle will go, whoa, what is that? And I think that's really effective in like trying to create like, jump scares, stuff like that, like, more of a horror vibe. But that was the main thing I noticed with the motion of the ride, is like it's very reactive to what you're seeing, and everything. So anyway, as for just full thoughts on the ride, I didn't even talk about the exterior. The manor is super cool. The lighting wasn't working in the beginning of the day, but later in the day it started working, and I was surprised. Like, it's really visible even during the daytime, and it looks super cool. And yeah, again, as for the ride itself, I don't know. I don't think it's my favorite dark ride yet. I think it's like really, really good. It's probably, it's definitely, I would say it's in my top 10 dark rides. I'd have to do a whole list for that, and I haven't done that. But yeah, in terms of whether it tops my favorite dark ride is Spider-Man, I don't know yet. I think it's just hard because, I've been on Spider-Man so many times, and Unchained is so new. But once everything is working on Unchained, and once I've done it like 20 times or whatever, there might need to be like a conversation about the best dark ride. Like, I think it could at some point top the list. even if it hasn't quite yet. But it's really good. It's worth visiting the park for. Like, even if this was like the dark ride of the park, I think it would be worth visiting. And it's crazy because there's another like big dark ride that wasn't even open yet. We'll get to that later. But yeah, so super cool. And then right after the first ride, went over to Curse of the Werewolf. I wasn't expecting much because it seemed like kind of a basic, like, you know, spinning roller coaster, launch spinning roller coaster. And I wasn't sure if I would like love it or anything, but I did really enjoy it. I was surprised with how much I enjoyed it. The spinning was more intense than I thought it was going to be, and the kind of aesthetic and time of the ride, like the ride time, I was scared was going to be a little too short, and it is a shorter ride for sure. But even so, like I felt like it offered a good amount of thrill for the amount of ride you have. And the werewolves in the shed are really cool. But the one thing I will say is definitely the downside with the ride is the finale. I won't expand on that for now. But yeah, the finale isn't great. But the rest of the ride I thought was really good. I was really surprised with it. And as for the rest of the Dark Universe, we may as well talk about it all. The vibes when you first come through the portal are incredible. You have like this mist in this graveyard as you come in, and then you see the village, and the village has so many little details that are super cool, like on the store signs and all that. As for the store itself, the store is really nice looking. It's you know, kind of cute with all the little monsters in it. Das Steakhouse, I did not eat there, but Das Steakhouse, the interior is super cool. Like I was really just like shocked with how cool it looked on the inside. Like it made me want to eat there. Burning Blade is a little smaller than I was expecting. Like it is quite small. There's like maybe 6 tables or something. There's probably a little more than that, but it was very small. But I like the vibes there too, and like all the stuff on the shelves you get to see. Super cool aesthetic. I'm trying to think of the walk around characters. I gotta talk about the walk around characters. So I believe I saw 5, maybe 6. I saw the violinist, who was as the marketing material says, she's playing a song and telling you about Darkmoor, the lore, everything. Saw Frankenstein and his bride briefly. Didn't do the full-on meet and greet with them, but they were waving near the end of the day once they were done doing their meet and greet thing, and I thought that was super cool. Igor walking around. Igor, the walk-around character, is really great. I think that's going to be... Igor as a whole, Igor on Monsters Unchained, like, I think Igor as a character is going to be very well-liked once this park opens. And then the Invisible Man, I had a great interaction with the Invisible Man. He gets super close to you. I don't know if that's going to be the case during opening, but he got like so close to me and my friend, and we were like, oh my god. But he was so much fun, just so much fun. Like, I think he was my favorite character that we came across, if I had to pick one. But he's super cool. The one flaw I would say with this land, because again, the vibes are really good. The Unchained is so good. Curse of the Werewolf is a great supporting attraction, but the land feels like small. Like it definitely feels like the smallest land. I mean, by far, it feels like the smallest land in the park. And it's not only that it feels small. Once you're outside of the village, it feels kind of like barren. Like there's a lot of like empty space between Unchained and Curse of the Werewolf. And so like I do hope they add another attraction one day. I think even as is, the land is like really good. Like I need to clarify that I'm not like complaining about the land or anything. But it did feel a little like, you know, a little small, a little empty. I wish it had a little bit more, even just decor wise, and I'm sure they might be adding more. in the future, because again, this is previews, but yeah, so that was my one note with the land. Otherwise, I really liked it. I mean, it just, again, I feel like all the decoration, all the stuff to see, it was really cool. And again, Unchained. You gotta do Unchained. You gotta do Unchained. Okay, so with that, we're gonna go on to the next land I went into, which is the Ministry of Magic. And unfortunately, the main ride, the Harry Potter and the Battle at the Ministry, was not open. It hasn't been open, but I did get to walk through the queue, and this is I think this is the new best queue in the world. Like, legitimately, I was like, when you first walk in, you do the Metro Flu. You go through the Flu network and everything, and then you see the atrium, and you're like, oh wow, like the scale, and it just looks so massive. Like you can, it's not even just the main big room. It's that you can see another big room in the background, and like that's just the beginning, because the rest of the queue. Like, it's such a long and detailed queue, and the scale is surprising throughout. Like, it's not like you just go in this one big room and then the rest of it's really small. There are some small rooms, but there's also like some big expansive rooms even later in the queue. And there's like so much variety, and it's kind of, you know, telling you the story of what the ride's gonna be before you go on the ride. And then you go into Umbridge's office, you see Higgledy, and the animatronic was working there, and it's super cool. If the ride is anything nearly as good as this queue, it could be the best ride in the park. Like, once I did my Ministry of Magic video, the closer look video, before I'd gone into the park, I was researching and everything, and I was just like, oh, this could be the best ride in the park, legitimately. And now that I've seen the queue, I'm like, oh, like it might actually be. So I could not be more excited for seeing this ride once it opens, comparing it to Unchained, because I know that's going to be a big comparison. And just, yeah, so the queue is unbelievable, just to say that, and I can't wait for the ride. I also did Cirque Arcanus while I was in here. The queue for Cirque Arcanus is really good too. There's a massive extended queue outside, which, like, good, because it's a Harry Potter land, it's going to be crowded. But even on the outside, there's you know, little details, stuff to see, posters on the wall, etc. And inside, there's a lot of good detail too. And then you get into the show itself, and it was so different than what I expected. It's just like Unchained. Except this, I think, like, was purposely meant to be like, you know, this is what you expect going in, and this is actually what you get. And I'm not sure if I liked that it was like that or not. I mean, there's one effect that is like mind-blowing. Again, not going to spoil it. But I was like, oh wow, like that's actually what's happening right now. You know, again, there was like an image in my head of what I thought the show would be, and then it was not that. And again, I think it was purposely sort of a fake out kind of thing, but super cool. All the effects in this, and the puppetry, and the performances, and the whatever. It's just, I mean, it's such a cool show. And yeah, I mean, I'll elaborate on my thoughts in a later review, I'm sure, but for now, just kind of, yeah, it was not what I was expecting, but it was good. I really did enjoy it. And as for the rest of the land, let's talk about the rest of Ministry. The outside Wizarding Paris, the scale of all the buildings and everything, I mean, it is like, it's crazy. Like, it really does seem like you're stepping inside, like, you know, real city streets. Like, you can see these real buildings, and the scale is huge and everything. I think this might be the best looking land, like, from the outside. Just looking at all the facades and everything of the shops and the ride and the show, like it really is just great. I will say it does have a similar quirk to the other Harry Potter lands, which is that the stores are really small, and I don't know. I think it must. There must be a reason for it, but I don't know why they keep doing it, because I'm envisioning when there's actually going to be like a lot of people here, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be really, really, really crowded. Like the exit gift shop for Battle at the Ministry is so tiny. So I'm a little scared for that. But I got to walk in Cafe L'air de la Serene, I believe that's the name. That restaurant was huge, and the aesthetic was like incredible on the inside, just incredible. So the restaurants, there is plenty of space, and there's multiple restaurants, so I'm sure that'll be better. But the stores I'm a little worried about. The wand effects seemed a lot more involved than the other parks, and there's animatronics involved. There's it seems like there's like multiple moving pieces a lot of the time. And I didn't have a wand myself. I just kind of looked over as other people did it, and I was like, oh, cool. And yeah, it's just cool. It's cool like the other ones are. I'm sure like for anyone that has a wand or is going to get a second generation wand or anything, that should be a super cool experience. But yeah, as for the land as a whole, I mean, like I said, it's beautiful. Might be the most beautiful land I stepped in, again, just in terms of the facades and everything. And I can't wait for when that ride opens. Like, that's gonna I think that's gonna blow people's minds. I think that's gonna blow my mind. And yeah, so that's it for Ministry. Let's move on to the Isle of Berk. Now, unfortunately with the Isle of Berk, so this was more near lunchtime. We were like, want to go and eat, and we figured go by Berk, maybe do Mead Hall, eat in there. Unfortunately, Mead Hall was not open, and in terms of Berk, I actually did not do a single ride or show at Berk. That speaks to, because I was at Epic for I think like 8 hours or so, and the fact that I did not do everything, and in fact I only did like half of what the park has to offer, like that should tell you how much there is to do with this park. But anyway, for Berk, yeah, I did not get to do any of the rides. The coaster, Hiccup's Wing Gliders, was down all day, so we didn't even see it testing. So the kinetic energy in this land, I'll start with that part. Kinetic energy was super cool. There's so many moving parts. There's so many things that you can like interact with, and there's so many dragons too. I didn't see any of the walk around dragons. I saw the animatronics that are around the park, so like the ice dragon and some other dragons that are like sitting around the stores and everything. But the dragons are super cool. They add so much life to the land, and I feel like the coaster, when the coaster's running, when the flat rides are running, when Fire Drill is running, like that's gonna add so much kinetic energy to the park. To the land, I should say. And like even as it is, there was a lot of kinetic energy, but I feel like once all those rides are running, it's going to be like just a whole different thing. So I can't wait to see it when it's like in its full glory, and the colorful aesthetic, and like the size of the land and everything. Like it's just super cool. Like I can't wait to revisit it and get to do all the rides and Untrainable and everything. But as for what I did do here, I did eat some food. We went to, I think Hooligan's Grog and Gruel is the name, and I got a mac and cheese cone. I don't remember I don't remember exactly what was in it, but there was stuff that was on top of it. And the one flaw I would say with the mac and cheese cones is that they don't mix all the ingredients together. So like, you'll have the stuff on the top, you'll eat it, and then it'll just be mac and cheese from there, which honestly was still really good. But I think the pro tip that I'll give to you all is to mix your mac and cheese cone beforehand, and then you'll kind of get a better a better mix of everything, I guess. But even so, the mac and cheese cone was super good. This was the only piece of food I got at Epic Universe, which I sort of regret, but again, just a packed day. But it was really good, and the bread on the outside, like super buttery. It was honestly like better than I was expecting it to be. I would recommend that if you gotta eat somewhere. And other than that, I mean, that's pretty much it for the Isle of Berk. Like I said, I didn't get to do any of the rides or anything, but the stores were really nice. The dragons were really cool. I wish I got to see the interior of Mead Hall. That'll have to wait for another day. I did go in the queue for Dragon Racers Rally, even though I didn't end up doing the ride. And there's a lot of really cool details in the queue for it. I think it's kind of like teaching you how to do the spinning and everything. So that's kind of a cool touch. But yeah, the land looks really cool. The water is so blue. I was like shocked at how blue the water looked. And yeah, so again, hope to experience that. I mean, obviously I'll be back at Epic Universe. This was not the only time. But I can't wait to revisit this land, do all the rides, eat all the food. And even the little experience I got, though, it was really nice. So that leads us to one of the final lands we have to discuss, which is Super Nintendo World. And I've already visited a version of Super Nintendo World at Universal Studios Hollywood. But if you know anything about that version of the land, you know that it's a single story. It only has Mario Kart, and as a whole, it's just less built out because they had less space to create it. And so with that in mind, the scale and like all the movement and just everything was so much bigger and so much more involved because it was 2 stories. Like Yoshi's Adventure added a lot, and of course you go into Donkey Kong Country and you see all the minecarts jumping around, and that adds a lot. But there's just like there's so much to do here, and I didn't even do any of the the key challenges. I didn't do any of those this time. But I mean, so you have the Piranha Plant, the Goomba, you have the caves where you can do the Bob-omb challenge, and just all this sort of stuff that's apart from the 3 rides that you can also do. I didn't get to do Mario Kart this time. If you've heard my thoughts on Mario Kart before, though, you know I kind of love the ride. And I still think that would be the standout in this land, but I did get to do the 2 other rides while I was there. And let's start with Minecart Madness, which I was able to do twice, luckily. And it's good. I like Minecart Madness, but it is a little rough. That's the thing I noticed. It's kind of like a side-to-side rumbly motion, and it really doesn't like affect your body too much. It really mostly affects your legs. Like your legs might slap into the restraints a bit, but it's not like you're like bumping your head or anything like that. It's like a little uncomfortable, but that I would say is the main flaw with the ride. There are some other, like for the track jumping, you can sometimes see the real track. That didn't bother me too much though. But all the theming stuff was a lot better than it looked from the POVs, which is what I expected. Like the one indoor scene where you're, well, again, no details, no spoilers, but there's an indoor scene that looks a lot better than I thought it would, and all the figures and animatronics were super cool. The finale is awesome. Like seeing that in person was so cool. Really, just the big flaw with this ride is the roughness, and I wouldn't say it like ruins the ride or anything. It's something to where it's just, as long as you know in advance, like going in, that it's going to be a little bumpy, then you should be okay. And otherwise, I thought really fun. From the outside, it looks so cool. And yeah, so I don't know. It was a good ride. I did enjoy my time with it. Yoshi's Adventure, I also got to do that. Not at Hollywood, so that was a first time experience. And as I expected, super cute, little Omni Mover. You get to see a great view of Super Nintendo World. You get to collect the 3 colored eggs, which I actually, it was more fun than I thought it would be. Just like, you spot the egg and then you're like, oh, I gotta hit the button. And then you hit the button and then the button glows. And I don't know. I like that. I don't know why. And there's a little dark ride segment, and that's adorable. The whole ride is just super cute. You get a great view of the land. You can see Minecart Madness over there. And yeah, just, I don't know. Like, the land as a whole is super cute, super detailed, super kinetic. It's really probably the best version of Super Nintendo World there is. I haven't been to Japan, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed my time with this Super Nintendo World. I would still say, like I said, Minecart Madness, probably the star of the show here. I would highly recommend doing Minecart Madness. I know some people think it's just okay, but I really enjoyed my time with it in Hollywood. And yeah, so, and the stores and stuff. I mean, Harry Potter's, the stores are a little small. Here, they are not. The 1UP Factory has plenty of Nintendo merch. And, and the power-up bands and everything. I did get a power-up band. I have the Mario one, because my channel's name is Hello Mario, and I'm like, yeah, I gotta just go with the basic one, I think. But yeah, so super cool land. Can't wait to do all the key challenges there. Start getting my high scores in. Riding Mario Kart again. Just so much left to do, it feels like. And that leads us to the final land, Celestial Park. Now, in Celestial Park, I did only get to do one ride, and that was the Stardust Racers yellow side. And Stardust Racers, I think, was a really good ride. The queue is a little bit of a weak point. It's mostly exterior. It's kind of like you're just in the, you do the extended queue, and then you go to the lockers, you go to the station. So it's not that involved, but I think that's pretty typical for roller coasters. And then once you're in there, once you start seeing the ride vehicle is incredible, by the way. Like, it might be my favorite roller coaster train that I've ever seen. I think very possibly, because like the aesthetic is so cool, and then all the lighting effects, like even during the day, you can see all the lighting like around the wheels and on the back of the train. You know what I'm talking about if you know what I'm talking about. And I can't imagine what it's going to look like at night, like when the track isn't lit up and just the cars are, and you can just see them in the background. That's going to look unreal. As for the ride itself, super good, really good. Like, the launches were very punchy. Like, there's a really nice kick in the first launch. And really the star of the show here, which I was expecting based on the layout, the star of the show is all the airtime. Like, there's so much airtime. And I was in the back seat too, so like the train is really like yanking you over those hills. So the airtime is fantastic. Like, you get that first hill, you get those little bunny hills, and all the dueling elements too. Like, you get really close to the other train sometimes, specifically with the Celestial Spin. The Celestial Spin on the yellow side, I wouldn't say I was super impressed with it, to be honest. I've heard the green side is better for that reason, so I'll have to do the green side one day. But even so, really enjoyed the yellow side of Stardust Racers. I would say I wish there was a little more variety in the layout. It really does feel like the airtime is the star of the show. If you like airtime, you're gonna love this ride. I would put it below Velocicoaster for me. I really did like it, like really, but Velocicoaster, I mean, I always knew that Velocicoaster would stay at the top. There's just something special about that ride. But yeah, so I really enjoyed Stardust Racers. Ride vehicles, super cool. The airtime, the ride experience, awesome. And I didn't even get to do the green side, and I've heard the green side is better. So, maybe that'll top Velocicoaster. Maybe that'll, blow yellow out of the water. Or is that the phrase? Whatever. Anyway, Stardust Racers, good. That's my review of Stardust Racers. Hope you enjoyed. Okay, and the rest of the land. The land feels very, open, very connective. Like, you can really get to the other portals pretty easily. I was really happy with that because, it could have been like the Epcot Lagoon, where you can't really like cross the lagoon, get to the other countries. Even Islands of Adventure has that problem, kinda, where like you gotta walk around to get there. And luckily, Epic is not really like that. Like, if you want to go to another land, it's much easier than it would be for like Islands or Epcot, like I said. So that's that's a really good part of Celestial Park. I also liked the theming, the kind of vibe of it was really nice. It is a little empty right now. They're still working on it. I got to see inside some of the restaurants. Pizza Moon, the interior is incredible. It does smell like a Chuck E. Cheese, like it really does. But yeah, the interior, all the theming, the motion, I again don't want to spoil it, but Pizza Moon is amazing on the inside. Meteor Astropub, it was a lot cleaner when I went in. Cleaner as in like aesthetically, not everything was very clean, to clarify. But it was like, a lot more brick and white. And I've heard a lot of good things about the food at Astropub. Unfortunately, like I said, the only thing I ate was the mac and cheese cone. But yeah, the inside of Astropub looked really nice. I didn't get to see the inside of Oaken Star or Blue Dragon or Atlantic, but from the outside, like all of them looked really nice. The stores, I think the main store at Epic is called Outer Worlds, and really huge. I love all the murals. Just a super cool store with a ton of great stuff to find. Some of the other stores weren't open yet. The Christmas store was. I like the Christmas store. I didn't get to do Constellation Carousel, sadly. I did see the outside of it, and like I said, it is gorgeous. And the other thing I want to touch on really quick is the fountains. Like, they add so much kinetic energy. They are gorgeous, and they kind of direct your attention towards the Helios, which, by the way, the Helios in person looks really cool. Like I said, it's just kind of a great backdrop for the park, a great backdrop for Celestial Park. It all like syncs up to the music, and I figure, at night and everything, it's just going to be gorgeous. And yeah, like you can see all the little like reeds of light and everything in the water, and I'm just like, oh, this place at night is going to be like just incredible. And it's like the Isle of Berk. It's like Super Nintendo World. It's like the kinetic energy just adds so much to this land and so much to this park. And I mean, like the amount of detail just throughout the entire park is amazing. I may as well just wrap it up, talk about my overall thoughts, because somehow I've been talking for 40 minutes. But yeah, this park's really good, if you couldn't guess already. And this is from someone who didn't get to do half the rides at the park. This is someone who, like, I haven't gone into most of the restaurants. I haven't eaten at most of the restaurants, in fact. So there's so much more food to discover. There's so many more nooks and crannies to explore. Like, my favorite part of Islands of Adventure is going on the side paths and being like, oh, I didn't know this was here. And I'm sure it's going to be the same for Epic. Like, I'm going to go in Isle of Berk and I'm going to be like, oh, I didn't know that was there, or another land like that. And as of right now, I mean, it really wasn't that crowded when I visit. So I'm just like, when this park is going to be crowded and there's going to be people here, like, this might be a 2-day park, genuinely. Like, if you want to get everything done, if you want to see everything, you might have to be here 2 days. Like, I don't know if 1 day is going to cut it. There's just so many restaurants and shops and rides, and there's so many things that I missed, that the fact that I'm already like, oh yeah, this is up there as one of the best parks I've ever been to. It's just mind blowing. Like, there's so much left. Like, when Ministry opens, when I get to do Mario Kart again, when I do Hiccups, when I do the Untrainable, I don't know where it's gonna stand. Like, I can't even really think about that right now. I only went 1 day during previews, so all I can really say is just, this park is good. This park is really good. I'm super happy I went. Obviously, I can't wait to talk about all this stuff more, talk about the stuff with my friends, and talk about the stuff with you guys, and try to review everything as much as I can. talk about everything, rank everything, just make a ton of content for it. But yeah, I can't wait to return. I can't wait until, you know, whatever other previews are going to come, annual pass holder. I can't wait until opening day, which I'm going to be there for. Yeah, I can't wait to go back. It's really something. It's really something. Like, I think you guys are going to have the same reaction I did, which is just, oh, like, I'm really here. Like, I'm really seeing this right now. And with that, I think that's the video. I think that's everything. I think that's everything I did. I mean, the fact that I talked about this for like 45 minutes and I didn't even get to go on half the things. Anyway, whatever. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe because I will be talking about more Epic Universe soon. If you like the unscripted format, let me know. I'll try doing more unscripted stuff. But don't worry, there will be scripted Epic Universe videos nearer to the park's opening. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for enjoying my Epic Universe content and making it so theme parks are like kind of my job. Thank you, basically. And yeah, Epic Universe, let's go. Bye.